All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Bob Seat. We are here for episode 11 with Max
Go
back for
me.
his second time on the Bob Seat, man. It's good to see you, dude.
Good seeing you.
How you doing?
I'm all right. I've been a little
Yeah.
busy. I've had a lot of, since the last time we talked, a lot's happened, actually, good and bad.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, a buddy of mine passed away, but other than that, I've been real busy, like every single day from morning to night, weekends and all. This past weekend was my first weekend actually off, so I was able to breathe.
Yeah.
But in my case, like I'm working in people's houses and for extended periods of time. So you can't really stop. Like even and people always ask me like, why do you take a break or but then you're putting those people's like lives on hold a little bit because like I'm doing like bathroom renovations and things like that and kitchen renovations and if you're not constantly working on it, then they have to live with it like that. So
Yeah.
um, just staying on top of everything is crucial to keeping people happy and also their lives to not suck. Because right now there's the one people they have this bathroom I'm working on and they have to all share a capsule size shower and it's been like that since like the end of February because it was a giant flip like this room from start to finish that was like gut out and it's all me and uh, I have one guy who does tile um, but I always had him do other things. I never had him do his main thing, which is tile. And right when I was gearing up for this job, he's from Brazil, and he ended up getting deported right right as soon as I was about to start this job. So
Wow.
then that's a whole nother thing. So then I was like just basically totally alone. Um, and that's, everything start to finish. So it makes it very pressure, like a lot of pressure, like doing
Yeah.
those. But it's also good because I'm busy, and that's important too. So how about you?
And so it's been you got your weekend, right? It's Monday now.
Yeah,
What'd you
yeah.
do? What'd you do on your time off?
Uh, so I have an RV. I have like a pool trailer, and I've had it for 2 summers now. But I've only had the truck since December, so I haven't been able to pull it. So I would always have to like borrow somebody's car to pull it. Luckily we have about 2 acres of like work land in Collingswood, which is like the only 2 acres in Collingswood.
Hmm.
And I'm able to keep it there. So I worked on it for the whole first summer, had to gut it out. And then the second summer, I was like doing all the finishing stuff to it. And now this summer we're actually going to get to use it. So I've been getting it ready for for that, and so I did that over the weekend. There's a few little things that I had to like fix on it, and then you have to like de-winterize it because all the water lines and stuff have to get blown out. So I was doing stuff like that, and then I was just rotting, which is the other thing that you got to do sometimes. You got to just rot a little bit.
Yeah. How much
Uh,
rotting do you think you guys done?
ah, Probably I don't know a good amount the first day on because I took Friday off too,
Hmm.
so I probably rotted for probably 7 hours on
Really?
Friday. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
sounds like you feel like that's a lot of time.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that's like, catching up on shows and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um, and
And you said
then
last time that you just wait until the whole show's done before you watch the show, right?
I try, yeah. Like I kind of broke that rule with the two shows I've been watching recently.
Uh-oh.
Uh there's a show called Daredevil Born Again on Disney Plus.
Okay.
And that's got one episode left, and I started watching it, and then I caught all the way up. And it's not over yet. So I gotta wait until tomorrow, and then it's over.
Okay.
Um,
Pretty close.
yeah, and then there's a show on HBO that started its second season last night, and I had to watch that because it's an important show to me. It's called The Last of Us.
Yeah, you really
Uh,
like it.
yeah, I really like it. And they do it week by week, which is annoying because nobody does that anymore. But
Why is it so important to you?
Um, so it used to be a video game before it was a show. Now it's like an award-winning show, and that's what most people know it for is a show with like Pedro Pascal
Hmm.
and Bella Ramsey. But It used to be a video game, and I kind of grew up on that video game. It came out in 2013. And me being a homeschooled kid, after I was done in school, I'd just play that game into oblivion just over and over and over again. And it was a story game. Um, like it was basically just a long movie. And I would play it so much as a kid, and then the sequel to it came out like way later, like 2019. So it was like 7 years. Oh no, I think it was 2020. So like 7 years after the first game came out. So it was a long wait.
Hmm.
And that one was like it was really good, but it was also like a total letdown as far as like the story goes. It's something that you'd have to dive into to like to know, but the show was kind of following that. So the whole first season was basically the whole first game, and now the whole second season is the whole second game.
Hmm.
And it's just interesting to see what they do different, but they basically stick to it like exactly. So it's interesting, but it's just something I like to. I don't want to get it spoiled because if it came out all at once, that would be great, and I'd probably watch it all within like a couple days. But because it comes out week by week, I have social media and stuff, so I don't want it to just get like spoiled before I can
Yeah,
see
it's
it.
hard.
That happens a lot now. So unless it's an older show, which is great. Like I started watching Dexter not that long ago,
Hmm.
and nobody really spoils old shows because they've been out for so long, nobody's talking about them like
Yeah,
that. Anyway, they'll say, oh, they like this show, but they don't get into like nobody's shocked at what happened. So then they're not all posting what happened. So like shows like that, I still haven't finished, but it doesn't get spoiled as much as like new shows. If you don't watch a show that just came out, it's going to get spoiled if you don't watch it within the first week it's out. So especially for me, but yeah.
smart
But
idea.
you got
Hmm.
any shows you've been catching up on?
I just caught up on Black Mirror, which
Oh,
just came back out
yeah.
for what was that?
Um,
How many seasons is that? Is this third or
no, I think this is like the fifth or
it's got to be
sixth.
more? It's a lot of
Yeah.
seasons.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, it
I'm
was very
excited.
good.
I'm excited to watch that. I have to wait for everybody to watch that, so that's another thing.
What do
And
you mean, everybody?
I don't watch shows just by myself, so it's like my
Hmm.
girlfriend or my family, and like usually on a show like that everybody likes, we all kind of have to wait for one another, and so that's why we never get to watch that stuff.
Hey, you said you were homeschooled?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was homeschooled. So I have two older sisters, and they went to like first and second grade, uh, and then they got pulled out because they didn't like the way they were teaching them. And there's
Hmm.
not like a ton of school. I mean, there's a good amount of schools, but there's not like a ton that they felt like would do good. And I guess they didn't want to do private school, so they pulled my two older sisters out, and they were only did like first and second grade. And then by the time I was even old enough to go to school, they were both already homeschooled for a while. So I was homeschooled from jump.
Wow.
And then, you get into sports and stuff, so it really didn't make a difference. It was just I didn't see my friends when they were at school. That was basically like
Hmm.
I just went to a different school. And that's why it's like it's funny because people are always like, "Oh, you're so normal for a homeschooled kid." It's like, well, it's really not that much different because you're still doing, sports and your friends. So it's like
Sure.
the only part you're missing is the hanging out in school part. But even then, like it's funny because I remember I would always end up at the school in some way, whether it was obviously for sports and stuff. But then also, I remember in eighth grade, I was helping the sixth graders with their orientation into the Collingswood school.
Hmm.
And I didn't even know what I was showing them, like how to open lockers and what classes to get to. I'm like, I don't know. I'm just here to help. So,
So you
uh,
never went to any school at all?
no, not even college,
Hmm. Wow.
Yeah, I mean it was like so I started the first job I had, I was like 14 and I was Spider-Man for birthday parties. So that was the
Hmm.
first ever thing I did. And then I did tree work for a while because my dad owns a tree company. So it was like, we were cutting trees down. So when I would get done school, or sometimes I would work first and then come home and do school because it would only really be like about 3 hours a day. Uh, was basically that's all the school you had for the day because
Hmm.
uh, throughout the week you would basically do your subject for that week. So you'd have like a day of math, a day of science, like etc. Uh, so that's how it would go. Um, so I had a lot of time. So I was working, helping with the tree business for about 2 years. Then right when I graduated high school, I started working as set decorating for an HBO show called Mayor of Easttown. And then COVID happened right a couple months after we started that. And then I started doing like concrete work, and I was always like pretty good with like building stuff. So after concrete, I like did a couple like solo things, and then I started working with these two old, like really old, like Italian carpenters, and we worked on like this nice house for like 6 months or something. And then that started getting slow. So then I was like, I might as well just start doing my own thing. So I started doing my own thing, and then I ended up, starting an LLC and having my own business. And then it was just like, it was just something I enjoyed, and I was starting to make enough money to where it was just it was a job, like it was a good job, an adult job. Um, and I didn't really like anything else. I think the only thing else I would even be interested in is like acting, maybe, but that's like not even anything similar to this, and it's definitely not uh like a white collar job. That's never really been my thing, but.
Well, you started out with the Spider-Man.
Yeah. Yeah. That was fun. That was actually like one of the probably the highest paying job I ever had, and that was my first job. It was $100 an hour.
Hmm.
But you're also not working 10 hours a day, you know what I mean? You're working
Would you
at
ever
most 2 or 3 hours.
would you ever do it again?
Spider-Man? I don't know about that. I don't think so. I think I was perfect at that time for it. Kind of aged out of it. Um and also I'm too busy. Like that's the other
Yeah.
thing. I wouldn't if there was a reason that I felt like I had to, like for I always wanted to do like the visits to like the children's hospital thing, but
Hmm.
I just never ended up getting into that. I know it was like a lot. It's actually like, well, one, I think it was like you also had to be like old enough, and at the time I was like trying to get into it. I was like 15 or 16 because it was 14 was when I started, and then I was still kind of doing it off and on at that point. Um, but it was like it just kind of fell through. But that would be maybe something. I also have like I remember when we were doing the Lawnside Lectern, the Halloween thing, and I was wearing the Batman outfit. I would
Yeah, I
do
saw the Batman.
I would do something like that for you know maybe like the hospital visit kind of thing. But it also kind of makes me sad. So I don't know. I might not be able to.
Hmm.
But that's I don't know. I like doing it. It's fun. I still want to do like I used to do conventions and stuff. I just haven't done that in a while. Kind of again, I'm kind of like aging out of it, I feel like. Even though some people are in their 50s and stuff
Aging
still
out at what,
still doing
23?
it. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's you start losing the ability to walk in to a giant convention in a skin tight outfit and being like, "All right, I'm good."
So you chose a career that you love,
Yeah,
you know, but it works you a lot, and the pressure is a lot with just like,
yeah,
people have things that they want you to get done, and it's like every second that you're not there working on it, like you worry they're, taking a
yeah,
shower in a little closet.
yeah.
Um,
Luckily, I mean,
yeah,
for
sounds like a
me,
lot of pressure.
I'm lucky. I have a lot of like. I usually don't take on clients I don't trust in some capacity,
Mm,
and everybody I work for is like very forgiving with time, and they see that I'm giving it my all, so they really
yeah.
never are like, oh, when is this getting done? Like usually everybody's very understanding, and I just feel bad because I want it to be done for them. Um, there was a job I just had to do. It was this past weekend. So not this weekend, but the weekend before. It started on Thursday and it had to be done by Monday, and that was coinciding with my other big bathroom job. Um, this was a bathroom job I had to get done in 4 days because it was their only bathroom and they were going to be gone for 4 days, and it had to be done in that time. So that was like one that was stressful because it required a lot of planning and I didn't have the time to plan it. So I just kind of had to say, I know I can do this and do it. And when it came to it, I had the first day I had like a crew of guys come help demo everything, so that was a big help. And then I started seeing all because they pre-bought everything, so it would be like it would the process would be smoother. They bought everything that we needed for the bathroom beforehand, and then I just had to demo the bathroom and put everything in. But the thing is, they bought more things than I thought we were doing. So then it was like added on all this time because I ended up having to do all this um, plumbing and removing where everything used to be to new locations and adding like things that we just didn't talk about, like extra water lines and things like that. So um when things like that start to happen, that's when the pressure starts to get on because you promise somebody one thing because you think it's going to be like another way, and then you get there and there starts being more and more and more. And another thing is you never know what happens until you start opening walls. Like in this case, they had a window in their shower, um so there was a lot of rot that built up and mold and stuff like that. So having to deal with stuff that you don't see and you didn't have time to plan out because it's behind the walls, and you can't start ripping walls out until you're starting because that's the only bathroom they have. So things like that are stressful, and those are the things that keep me talking in my sleep. But but yeah, but that was it ended up being the case that I got it done in a day extra essentially, but it was basic. I got it completely usable in the 4 days, and then the fifth day was just like fixing up things so that they could paint. But yeah, that was a stressful a stressful job, and that's why I was like, this following weekend I'm taking the weekend off. So I did, and that was needed to say the least.
Sorry, can you hear that?
A little bit when you do that. Yeah, do that again.
Sorry.
What is that?
I live in the city, so
Yeah.
and they are just loud.
Yeah.
They
It
are
sounds like it was just like water sound. What was it? Were they
that
banging
was just
upstairs?
motorcycles
Oh,
driving
oh,
by.
is it like the pack of guys that ride on
Yeah,
the
it's a
dirt
pack.
bikes? Yeah, yeah,
I mean, guys, girls, a
yeah,
whole
yeah. The quads and stuff too. Yeah, they
yeah.
ride on.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. Oh yeah,
yeah,
big quads.
yeah, yeah. What part of Philly you in?
Uh like near the Ben Franklin Bridge.
Oh, okay, so South Philly.
Around there.
Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I'm not too far from the Bend either. I'm like 5 minutes, but Jersey side, that's the
Anyway,
difference.
back to your talking about your thing. I'm curious, just like with your story of like the you were doing the trees, your dad owned this business. Like,
Yeah.
how did you like learn how to start your own business, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean that's you basically just said it. So my dad has had a business for like 30 years. So I always grew up around it, and I mean he had his own business. My brother-in-law has his own business. He owns a barber shop, very pretty famous one. He cuts like all the Eagles players and stuff. And he
you're
was
around a lot of people that start
yeah,
businesses.
yeah, and pretty like successful ones too. And then even like my uncle who doesn't own his own business. He runs he's like a manager for Iron Mountain, which is like a record keeping company. And so everybody in my family has always been either owned their own company or was like the top of whatever company they were in. Um,
Anybody ever in your family ever go to college other than you? Or you didn't go to college, but anybody in your
uh, no,
family?
my uncle, I think he was the only one that went, and it was I
Hmm,
think his major was like just business or something. Um,
hmm.
but
Interesting.
not really, even my cousins didn't
And
really
yet
go
they
to
all own
college.
businesses and
Yeah. Yeah,
hmm,
I mean that's
did pretty
usually
well
what
for themselves.
happens,
Yeah,
if you don't go to college and you
yeah.
probably have another plan, you're either listen, there's a lot of different reasons why people don't go to college, and I feel like if you're an intelligent person and you choose not to go to college, then it's because you have an alternative plan or there's no need for college. Like for me, a trade school could have been
Hmm.
something, but it
You
wasn't
didn't need it
that
though.
it wasn't necessary. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
seemed like it was just going to slow me down. Um,
I
But
mean, for
yeah,
being 23, right?
yeah,
Not, I don't think many 23-year-olds are owning their own business to the point that you are, right? It sounds like, on the one hand, like you're surrounded by family that all kind of, for the most part, own businesses.
yeah,
Um, but it's interesting. I think maybe like going the normal path of school and college. People graduate with degrees all the time and then can't find a
right,
job in their field, and then
yeah,
they're stuck for years and then they're in debt and then they still don't know what they want to do and they just kind of end up falling into a job. And then there's artists, right?
yeah,
Artists kind of in some ways similar, but maybe they get like a liberal arts degree. Maybe they don't go to college, but they try and like just make business, but they forget about the business part and they stick too much to like the art part in
yeah,
a lot of case.
for sure.
And somehow you got a good combination, right, of the business and the skill through your family, but also through like your experiences.
Yeah,
It's just, I don't know.
yeah. I mean,
I don't know if I can make a point here,
I
but it's interesting.
I think it's like it kind of gets hammered into your head, especially when you're homeschooled. I'm around my friends a lot, but that, 7 hours of the day where you're not with your friends when you're growing up, you're with adults the whole time, and they're kind of hammering in these thoughts into your head, like what you just said, like, where you're going to end up if you do certain things, and the college thing too, especially because a lot of people in my family didn't go to college, and a lot of my friends went to college, and my friends went to college for degrees that they don't use.
Mhm.
A lot of them went to business, like for business, and they work delivering Amazon packages now because there's no jobs that take that. Like, unless there has to be, you have to really want that certain major for it to work. And if you're just going because now it's time to go, that's when you kind of end up getting screwed in the end. So it's better, it's better to figure out if that's really what you want to do. You'll know, it's not going to be, I guess I'll go for marketing, like, or then sometimes it might fall into something, but you have to be somewhat passionate about it. My one friend, who does like social media, actually like influencing, he goes to school for that now. But he started as like a music major. Um, and then it just kind of evolved into that. And that's kind of the same thing. Like, he's pretty successful with that because he wanted that. And a lot of my friends that did marketing or business just did it because they thought they were going to make the most money off of it. But yeah, you can't do things just because other people say that they're going to do it or whatever, and you're just confused. So I think just doing whatever you feel, you'll end up being successful at it anyway. And I mean, if you do it enough, that's just kind of how it goes. If you're really
Just
passionate about it, you know.
starting over from the beginning, you would
Yeah.
choose to do all the same things.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't know. I don't think I would really change anything. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. I don't think I would change anything.
Would you recommend other people take like a similar path?
You know, I don't know, because a lot of people aren't like me. And I realize that, especially in the type of job I do. A lot of people that are in trades would just prefer to be in the union. The union never really like hit the spot for me. I kind of started in the union, not like fully in the union, but it was technically local 8, which was the stagehand union. Um, but it's too you feel like you're an ant in a colony or a cog in a wheel. You don't really feel like you have any creative control, and you're kind of just pushed to do whatever they have for you, and you have to do it because you have to survive. And I think that doesn't sound fun, but that's necessary too. So certain blue collar like people, like, that's going to work for, but for me, that would never work for me. If I had to be in the union, I'd rather be doing anything else. Um,
What's the
but
hardest part about owning a business like that?
I think for a lot of people, it would be probably getting the work. Um, I'm lucky enough to have a lot of connections, I guess, which not everybody has. So that's probably the hardest part to starting a business.
Mm.
is just getting that ball rolling. And sometimes the ball stops rolling, especially when you get deep into something like a job I'm in right now, where you're so into this one job that you have to keep pushing people aside, and then you finally get through this job, and now you're like, now all the people I pushed away aren't here anymore. So now what? Because you've been focused on that one thing. And
Mm.
that's happened to me a couple of times, where you're on it and you're working every day, every weekend, and everything, and then all of a sudden it just comes to a screeching halt because you keep pushing everybody away. Kind of happened at the beginning of last year. I had two big jobs that took up more than 4 months of my time. And then as soon as it was done, it was like I pushed people away for 4 months, and now everybody, doesn't have any work. But then it comes back around, and like this is a good job because there's always work for this, especially in an area that I live in. I'm sure it would be a lot harder if I lived in a rural area, but I live in a suburb, so, and a pretty popular one, so we're pretty densely packed, and there's a good mixture of wealth. So if you go a little bit to one side of the town, you're going to find people that are really wealthy that would gladly pay you whatever you ask, and they don't really care. And there's a good amount of people that are just normal people as well. But yeah, I mean that's the hardest part is finding clients. The other hard part would be keeping them, keeping everybody happy, knowing what clients to take. If you're lucky enough to be able to even choose, I notice a lot of people that are in the same business as me um, get screwed over a lot. But then you have to be a good person, you have to be fair. So there's a lot of things to go along with it that keep your business in good shape. But also, there's things that I could probably excel in more if I wasn't as fair and easy with everybody. I know a lot of guys that will just, they're in somewhere for 10 minutes and they'll charge you $1,400 for something, because that's what it is. But if I can cut somebody a break, I absolutely will cut them a break. And if I can give somebody something for free, then I'll do that. That's just how you should be. Is it getting me further along? Probably not. But
What do you think your edge is then?
I think my edge is that I keep everybody happy. And so they constantly refer me. So I'll never have a shortage of work. And I think, um, and also I do quality work. So I think everybody I like the idea that when somebody sees something I did, it stays around. It's not like, oh, we're gonna have to redo that in a couple of years, which happens with a lot of, general contractors and remodelers and whatnot.
So you're 23.
Yeah.
What's your 50-year plan?
Oof, that's a good move. So it's probably not gonna be if it might not be this. This will become my hobby, I think, less than my job.
Okay, hold on
Uh,
a second. Okay, hold on a second.
Go
So
ahead.
it's the quads.
I can barely hear the quads, luckily.
You know, they gotta have their time to shine.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Please
They were
proceed.
they were catching up to the rest of them. That's what it was. Um, I forget where I was at.
Um, Audience, please remind us
I
where.
al- I always lose. I'm so bad with my short-term memory. As soon as it's out, it's out.
We were talking about you and your job
Yeah.
and the business and how
Yeah.
hard it is. Oh, your
Mhm.
50-year plan.
50-year plan. Right. So I don't think it's always going to be this. I think this is kind of going to end up being a hobby because I like to build and obviously I want to build for myself. But
So you're gonna change.
yeah, I think because this realistically, if it's just me with no employees, my cap is probably going to be somewhere around $150,000 a year. That's probably the maximum that I can make by myself completely.
Hmm.
If I can start bringing on employees and having, structured guys that just go out with the name of the company, that would be great. And that could be something so that might go down that path. But then also, my dad owns the tree service, like I was saying, but we also own a sawmill, and a sawmill is for making slabs of wood, and we make all kinds of cool stuff there. So that could end up being the end goal, which would be taking over the sawmill and milling wood, making tables, custom things where, yeah, you might be on a job for a couple weeks making a custom piece of furniture for a high-end client, but that piece of furniture might be a, $40,000 piece in the end because
Wow.
of all the, uniqueness to it. And then also, the manufacturing process and just making custom pieces and furniture, and then also having guys running. The only way to really make money, especially in a business, is with other people. You're not going to get very far in life if you don't have other people to help you. I mean, you need people for everything. So finding good people, I think, is the most important part in the next coming years. Finding people that I trust and people that'll stick around, especially people that it's hard, I think, right now because I'm a little young, so finding guys that match my skill are going to be a lot older and they're not going to want to get bossed around by a 23-year-old. So that's another problem. Um, but I try and be fair and I want to I kind of make it more of a partnership, but where um, things kind of make money whether I'm doing them or not. And all I have to do is stay on top of customers, especially because I'm building up my reputation now and having a good customer list. So if I can keep that and, build up more skilled laborers to do some of the work and the people that I trust. That's really the end goal, I would say. But yeah,
And then balance, I imagine.
imbalance. Yeah, it would keep the life part balanced out if I have other people working for me as well. But
Watch some more TV shows.
yeah, yeah, that's the thing. Well, I have a lot of hobbies too, so it's like you don't get to do any of those things. It's mostly kind of like the same kind of thing where it's like building or making stuff, 3D printing and stuff like that. But you get so burnt out from doing stuff that the second you get in a day where you're just chilling, you're like, you just want to rot, you know? So that's a problem.
So if you could do one other thing other than construction,
Yeah.
what would you do? You could wave a magic wand and start a whole new like second side hustle with like, I don't know, 25% of your day left.
Mm.
1/4, 3/4. Or is that not enough time?
Oh, I don't know. That's tough.
Would
Like,
you be
like as another job or as like a
Spider-Man?
hobby? Yeah.
I mean, hobby's cool, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, if it was another job, I
Yeah.
think it would be cool. Like again, like the acting thing would be cool. I think that would be fun. I liked being around the sets and stuff when I was working on them. Um,
Yeah, you've mentioned acting a couple of times.
yeah, I don't know, but it was like something I never really did. I've always been around it. I've always been into it,
Yeah.
but I never was like into like theater acting,
Didn't
and
you
that's
say
kind
that
you
it's
kind
the
of have to
things
be.
that you like that you get good at?
Yeah, sure.
You know?
And I do, and that's the thing is like for all the people that are really close to me, that's all I do all the time is I'm just like spewing impressions and just like doing like with my girlfriend. If start to feel it, I'll just like start to pretend to cry and just like act like that, and I'll just like let my just like tears just flowing down my face, and like she's like, How do you do that?" And so like I do it like for fun with like people, but like I don't know, I never enjoyed like doing theater and stuff like that. And I feel like you have to enjoy that first to become really good at like any other kind of acting. But I just
What
didn't,
kind of acting would you want to do that it's not theater?
I guess just like movies and TV and stuff like that. But because I've been around it a little bit and
I think there are
it
two
seems
different
cool.
types of acting. I think there's
I do,
theater acting and
yeah.
then there's TV
For
acting.
sure. I agree. And a lot of people that are good at TV acting aren't good at theater acting and vice versa. But I feel like usually the interest for just about all those people starts when they're in high school and then it's like they're in theater or drama class or whatever and they do a few, whether it's they're actually doing the high school plays or they end up doing just the class. I feel like that's what ends up pushing them into that. And also, like, I never really had any other than actually working on the set with like the people doing set. I never really had that in my world. Like, nobody in my family was ever an actor, and none of my friends or anything were ever really actors.
You know how
Um,
you know how Terry Crews got started acting?
how did you get started?
he was working as a security guard on a movie set.
Really?
Yeah, and a guy was walking by and was like, "Hey, man, you look like you could be an actor, like a
Yeah,
tough
yeah.
guy." And yeah, gave him his card, and he called him up, and he got a part, and
Wow,
the
that's
rest is
crazy.
history.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, and like some people, like Harrison Ford, he was a carpenter until he was in his 30s. So that was like another thing that was like,
There you go.
that gives you a thing. But like also, I don't know how much I would actually like it versus how much I think I would like it. You know. Well, it was kind of fun. We went to the NBC building in New York to visit the Saturday Night Live set because I'm a big Saturday Night Live fan.
Hmm.
And that was like surreal, just being in person, like in the room and seeing it all, especially because I've watched it my whole life. And that kind of gave you that feeling where you're like, oh wow,
Mm,
this is something. And then at the end of the thing, they have you do like because you go visit all the different sets other than
sure.
Saturday Night Live too. Um, and they have like the Today Show there, so they have you do like they act out like a scene or whatever from the Today Show. Like they like set up like teleprompters and stuff. And I got the one like there was like two parts I think that you could just like freelance, and I got the one that you could just like do whatever you want it kind of thing. And it turned out really good. And
Mm.
and it was basically like I got to do an SNL skit like in the building. And but that was like one of the first times I actually got to do it, especially in front of people and like with a real camera and everything.
And you had a good
And
time.
and I had a good time, and everybody was like, "Wow, you killed that." I was like, "All
Okay,
right,
so when you
cool."
say like, I don't know
Yeah,
if I'd like it,
yeah,
sounds like you've tried and you like it.
yeah. It just also gives you the feeling like you're gonna shit your pants.
Yeah.
So there's that. And I mean,
Just wear diapers.
you
That's all
know
right.
plenty about that. You've been the fucking star in some of them. Excuse my
I
language.
wear diapers.
Yeah, there you go. Good. Yeah,
No, I'm
right.
just kidding. But
Yeah,
if I needed
yeah.
to,
How many shows have you been in total?
that's a
Yeah, to
good
guess.
question. I was in a few musicals. I think I was in a musical every year in high school.
Really? Yeah.
Never like a big part or anything.
So
We had some really good
when
talent.
did you start
Actually,
getting leading roles?
um, so I I had my first show back probably 2012, which what's it, 2025? So that's a while ago.
Yeah. Yeah, 13
And
years.
a buddy of mine, his dad was doing some sound engineering for a theater, and a show was coming around. It was like a barbershop quartet type of show.
Hmm.
And he said that he thought that I might be interested. So he suggested that I go audition, and I auditioned, and it was only four parts.
Yeah.
And I got the gig for that, and
Cool.
that was
Out of
pretty
four
fun.
parts, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
that's what I thought. I
Yeah.
didn't know how many people auditioned, but
Yeah.
it
That's
was a good
awesome.
time. And then I moved to San Diego,
Hmm.
and I started a job there. And a girl that worked there knew that I liked Rent. I don't know if we've been talking about it,
Yeah.
but she said, "Hey, did you know that this local theater in Chula Vista is doing Rent, and they have auditions coming up?" And I was like, "Oh, that sounds kind of cool, right?" And I had, I was coming off. It was maybe like a couple years after the other show, so I was a little confident from that, maybe. And I went in and I sang "Footloose" for my audition song.
Nice.
I think it
Good
was the
good
same song
song.
that I sang for the other one, and I was just like, let me just do the same thing, see what happens.
Yeah.
And I got a call back, and I ended up getting Mark in
Oh
Rent.
wow.
And so that was like a dream role,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it was such a good time. I really got a lot
Did
of
you
camaraderie with the cast, and
did you ever do Rent again after that?
no, just the one
No.
time.
Yeah. Have you ever done a show twice?
No, I haven't had the opportunity to. I
Yeah.
don't know if I would want to, although I would do Rent again. I know it's coming up soon, I think.
Yeah.
Uh,
Where at? Do you know?
Hadfield
Oh,
Players,
really?
I
Yeah.
think maybe
Plays
are
and
doing
players.
it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, we'll see.
Cool. Cool.
And but yeah, it was such a good time.
I know Piper is about to direct Grease.
Oh wow,
Yeah. So
great show. I haven't been in
that's
that
another one
one.
coming up. Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, so did that one, and then did a few after that one. I did Oklahoma,
Right.
um, some other like kind of oddball shows, but yeah,
So
I mean,
so
I
so
didn't
so
have any trained
far
experience or anything. It was just kind of like,
so far I'm counting eight
it was a
shows.
few. It was like somewhere between 5 and 10.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
again, no trained experience.
Yeah.
You just got to.
Yeah.
You don't have to go to Berkeley or whatever school of
Yeah.
music,
Go to Juilliard. Yeah.
Juilliard or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I was singing in a wedding band for you know quite a while that I
Yeah.
found on Craigslist. I
Have
didn't.
you have you always been into music even before shows? I
I
mean, a lot of your
actually
shows
so
were high school and
I
stuff.
started in choir in high school,
Yeah.
and it was only because I wanted to meet girls.
Yeah.
I guess before that I was really interested in Elvis, and I played the guitar.
Yeah.
I thought Elvis was so cool. It was just, I don't know, it was his hair. Back when I had hair, I would like style it like
Like
Elvis.
Elvis. Yeah. Nice.
And I never wanted to sing. I was just playing the guitar, but even then I didn't really take it seriously. And then with the singing, I still didn't take it seriously until I started getting better. And that was kind of like a feedback loop where I just kind of wanted to keep getting better. And it was really fun to sing. And then I started kind of pairing the singing with the guitar, and that was kind of fun. Um, but yeah, I never did really anything beyond that. It's not, you can't really do like a band with an acoustic
Yeah.
guitar, and I hadn't switched to electric. And then, then I took off with the singing instead. And now I'm trying to go back with guitar and all sorts of stuff. But
Yeah. Yeah. Now, when how did the Jesus Christ Superstar thing
I love
come
how
up?
the interview just like turned on am I getting interviewed all of a sudden?
Yeah.
What's the question?
Yeah, I said, how did the Jesus Christ Superstar thing come up? Because I know you took a break
Hmm.
for a while, right? Was it like you just saw, like, how did that even come up?
I I think that was my first show since moving back here to
Yeah,
Jersey, because I moved from San Diego back to Jersey, and I was just looking for
shows. You just like typed in
shows to do,
shows coming
and
up.
and yeah,
Yeah,
I just saw it and
yeah,
auditioned, and
yeah. Now I heard, are you Jewish?
I am a Jew.
Yeah, and isn't Tommy also Jewish? The other
Oh,
main
I the guy that played Judas.
Judas. Yeah, I heard he was also Jewish.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. That's what that's just somebody said that, I guess. I don't know. I
I
don't
don't
know.
think Tommy's a Jewish name.
What was his last name?
Um, not a Jew.
It's like Levine.
Christian.
Yeah. Oh, okay, maybe. Yeah, so well that's I was gonna say because I thought he was too, that it's just interesting that that's a very like you were doing it in a Christian church too. It just
Oh
it's like
yeah, it was a
how
wild
does that
show.
even come up? Yeah, that's
So
funny. Another motorcycle going by and
when's
planes.
when's your next acting audition? I guess it would be too much time, right, for your situation.
Yeah.
You couldn't really.
Yeah, and like
Hmm.
I think it would literally have to be getting just like forced into it somehow. It's not like super high on my list. It's just like slightly
So
interesting.
you think you
And
could do it, like even like a small part?
yeah, yeah, I think so. I think it would be
What about Piper's show? About Grease? You could be a
yeah, I
wheel.
don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if I would want to do theater like kind of stuff,
There's
but
only one way to find out. What's the worst that can happen?
only one way to find out. That's right. I don't know.
Okay.
I like building the sets for her, so I'll do that.
I think audience, put it in the comments. Should Max go audition for Grease?
Yeah.
Or Rent's coming up. There's probably some other shows. We got a lot of shows coming up. It's
Yeah.
April, summertime.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep doing my thing, and if something comes up, it's if it's meant to be, it'll be. That's how I feel. And if that's the path it goes, it's the path it goes. But
Well, sir,
I'm
I
not gonna
feel
push
like
it.
that is the best way to wrap up this
All right.
podcast. It is what it is.
It is what
Whatever
it
will
is.
be, will be. Episode 13, Mr. Max. It's great having you back. Second
Thanks
time.
for having me.
We're not going to do the 3 hour show this week, but
Yeah.
we'll bring it back a
Next.
third time.
Yeah. Fourth time. This is the third time.
This is the third time?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, we had one, and then two was when I got the good camera and the microphone, and then three was
Oh,
the
true.
rest. Yeah,
Yeah, this is looking solid. You got
just
a solid setup.
yeah, I
I
needed
feel
just a
like
better
Joe Rogan
background.
now with such a pro guest.
Yeah, I got to do like I got to learn Joe Rogan's voice.
And I
Start
changed up my
start doing it.
background today, so I think we're still trying to find our footing here. But
Yeah,
um,
yeah. What's that directly behind you?
that is the back of a whiteboard.
Okay, it looks like a refrigerator in a bedroom.
Well, it does. It is magnetic.
Yeah,
It is magnetic, and it has a
looks like
Saquon
the dog.
magnet.
Saquon Barkley magnet. Nice, nice,
And yeah, so we'll see where we are next week. But
cool. Of
would love to have you back soon, and
course,
love to get some comments in the video, see what people want to hear about Max. I'm sure. I mean, you're a very well cultured dude for someone who is only 23 years old.
appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Max, it's been a pleasure. I'm gonna go ahead and call it.
Cool. Yeah, yeah.